Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm Marlon Weems, the Journeyman, publisher of the Journeyman newsletter,
Oh,
and I'm joined by my friend Lawrence Winterman.
hey,
I see
Marlon,
you
how
got my
are
green
you?
shirt memo, man. We're doing something a little different today, or at least I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to have two guests. We're waiting on Miss Dana Dubois, and
We
I like
just,
saying her last name. It reminds me of New Orleans.
yeah,
Well, I'm
yes.
from Arkansas, man, and when we would go to New Orleans, it's almost like leaving the country. And there she is, Dana
Hello.
Dubois.
Hi, Marlon.
Welcome. So
Thank
this
you.
is
So
we're
great
doing a
to be here.
little I guess this could be called a reciprocal um deal. I don't think I've ever had two guests, sort of a trio. So this is kind of new for me.
Well,
And you
good.
guys are the hardest working people on Substack now.
Well, I'm not sure that that's true, but we
Doing
try at least. We
how many
try.
lives have you done so far this morning?
Well, what we did our show right before this, and we had Egberto Willies on, who
I
said
saw
to
that.
tell you
I saw
hello.
that. Egberto is a good
Yeah, piece
friend.
of pie.
We've done many live streams together over the ever since Substack allowed us to do this kind of thing.
Yeah,
But I knew him pretty well even before then. He's got a he's got a pretty successful YouTube channel that he's done for years.
yep.
So whatever would we talk about today, people?
There's nothing
I
going
mean, there's
on in
just
the
nothing
world,
going
Marlon.
on.
Yeah,
I am going to
times
start
are
it off.
boring. Let's go get
Um,
brunch and just there's
can
nothing
you
really to
guys
talk
hear me?
about.
There we go. Let me get my volume up a little bit. All right. Here's what
Yeah.
I want to start with:
Okay.
these racist ass text messages.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not really that surprised.
Not
I
surprised
mean,
at
a lot of
all.
people are. I'm not
Really?
even, my wife, who is not black, is, she's disappointed and I just thought we were past this. And we've been telling y'all,
I
we've been telling y'all. So the part that frustrates me the most about this, and I'll let you guys chime in, it's not so much that we know about it, notwithstanding the fact that they're trying to make these, 30 and 40-year-old men kids.
Right.
It's not even that because, I've seen that happen in a number of different ways. It
yeah.
is how the media is just tiptoeing around all this. I watched a clip because I don't do cable news anymore. I canceled a long time ago, but I get the clips. There's you can't get away from the oligarchy. So I've got like a Amazon Fire Stick, and you can watch clips of all this stuff, right? And so, hang on a second, Alexa, turn off. I just realized I just realized I had like this jazz accompaniment going.
It was
I
kind
was
of
hearing it
nice.
and I was
I'm
like,
I'm sorry, folks. I kind of,
No, it was kind of
it
beautiful.
was really nice. Actually, I was like, oh,
that
okay.
was not really the ambiance I was trying to convey. So so yeah, anyway,
It was soothing.
it was the usual talking heads, and they
Mhm.
had I think it's Cornell Belcher, who's kind of a Democratic
Consultant.
whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, and I listened to those four people talk about this. The first thing that just kind of grated a little bit was that they tried to do the both sides thing. And they started off saying, well, I'm not trying to both sides this, but Graham Plattner. And I'm like, are we really trying to do that? I mean, are we really trying? Whatever this guy has said, and I haven't looked into it, but it's stupid stuff. And he said he was a communist at some point, and it seems like maybe it was years ago. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong,
No, it was. It was years ago.
but none of that is like talking about gas chambers and watermelon people.
Right.
That's
Right.
just me. And I listen to them talk probably, a whole segment. they never said the word racist, not even once.
Of course not.
So
Words matter.
I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, words matter. And I was just thinking about this. Lawrence can attest. We were having this conversation yesterday of like, at my core, I am not a political commentator or writer. I'm a memoirist. And like, I'm starting to get exasperated that like the political situation is so god awful that we have no choice but to talk about this all the time. But I think the useful thing I can provide here is that like words matter and saying the words matter. So the fact that we were just talking about with Egberto that like people have stopped calling themselves liberal or progressive because it's like almost seen as a pejorative, and people are stopping to like they're not quite saying racist because we don't want to say that, or whatever those words are. Like this is why we lost abortion rights because people stopped saying abortion. They started like it makes you jump even now, right?
Oh
That
yeah,
like people started calling it choice. And
choice and
with bodily autonomy and not saying the out loud part out loud, but it's like it's an abortion, it's medical care. It's okay to say the word. We have to say the words, and I think we've rolled back so far that if you can't call like I don't even want to say a watermelon people racist, and you can't
that was
right,
like
you
so
can't say
in your
gas
face.
chambers is anti-Semitic. Like
That's not something you pick up on the internet. That's something you got at
You
the
learned that at
source.
home.
You
you're
got that at the source,
multi-generational
man.
racist, right? Like we have to be able to talk about it first to address it. And the media is so complicit. Like we need a stronger word than complicit at this point, right? Like, what do we even want to say if we're using the right word here?
I don't know. It's they're
They're
in
not
on
even
it.
just
I mean,
Yeah,
they're
no, exactly. Like it's essentially a
because if you
conspiracy.
can't say, for example, there was this other guy, an Italian guy that's Trump has put up for some role, and looks like he's going to have to pull him out. And I saw a chart today that I mean he's had to like retract like I think almost 40 people,
Right.
right.
right? And this guy, aside, putting aside the fact that he's not even freaking qualified. It's
Right.
Right.
so bad. Think about it. It is so bad now that we're actually overlooking the fact that, oh, by the way, if he wasn't racist, he shouldn't get this job
He's
anyway.
not
Right. Right.
right.
He's not qualified to
Okay.
do it.
So,
Yeah.
That is a
so this guy
universal
was like
attribute.
using, words that you hear like in The Sopranos for black people, eggplant, whatever,
Right.
some other stuff that I'm not even going to try to say, but it's like, that's not something that, that's not a side effect of economic anxiety. That's like, dude, you're racist
Yeah. No,
because you like it.
that's just straight up like you were raised in an environment where you were taught to hate black people,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have used these words your whole life. And now things have gotten so bad that you think that it's okay to say them on a text message that could leak and to your friends who feel the same way. Like that's just straight up racism.
Lawrence,
And
And
I
it's
have to say,
safety.
I was talking to Shannon, my wife, about this. And, you have to understand, we live on this island in North Carolina. It's, I mean, we had the No Kings March, and we have a bridge that goes from the island to the mainland of the town, and there were like 300 people, which for around here, I mean, there's really, I think the town itself is maybe 5,000 people. There's less than 10,000 people when you look at the island and the surrounding community, I would say.
Sounds lovely.
So that was a pretty decent showing.
yeah,
Now, it wasn't the most diverse group you're ever going to see. And I mean that racially and also age, because this is like a retirement, or, a lot of people are retired here. And then
right,
in the season, it's a beach town, right?
right,
But we were just talking about how hard it is to, some of the people we interact with every day, and we know they voted for Trump,
right,
Yeah.
and you just can't even, I mean, because now, a decade into this shit, there's no talking to them because you know my family. I got this biracial family, and you're like throwing in with the racist guys.
Right.
And I don't know how if you guys have to deal with something similar, Lawrence, maybe you or as a woman, just how do you guys deal with that, or even if you have to?
Yeah, it's so I'm a gay man. I'm Jewish. Um it's interesting, right? Because I guess I pass, right? I guess most people don't recognize,
Yeah,
we were kind of joking about this
yeah, I'm
yesterday.
kind of
Like,
hard
Gordo,
to. It's tough.
and you know, it's interesting because I pass. Like, I don't look Jewish, I don't look gay. I'm total white guy, right? Like, I basically look like a Bubba. I'm in
Yeah,
Fort Wayne, Indiana, and so dudes who look like me assume that I think like them. And I'm constantly hearing shit that is racist and homophobic, and you know, like like heads up, I'm breaking the code, y'all. Like, white people are racist. Like, conservative white people have beliefs that are gross, and
No,
I get to
no.
hear them because they think I'm on their side. And
uh-huh.
it's interesting, right? Because I like to talk about this, as a gay person. There's sort of like, you don't come out once, like Marlon, as a black man, you don't get to hide the fact that you are black, right?
It's
Like, it
quite
is right
difficult.
there, you, you, you
Yeah,
know?
I there's no doing that for me.
Yeah.
Not that I even would, and I actually, being from Arkansas, pardon me, I worked at an investment firm for about a decade, and when they hired me, I was um I used to joke. My joke is the head janitor wasn't even black. I mean, very few, they had at the time maybe 100 or so people, but they had never had a guy, in the trading room like me, or a person. There was a black secretary.
Right.
So they have a secretarial pool of maybe a half dozen women. One was black. And I found this out years after I had been there. I worked there for a little over 10 years. And at one point, I found out that when I was going through the hiring process, I kept wondering why I kept getting passed around, and nobody wanted to pull the trigger on this. Right. Because if it went bad, I don't know what it would have, had I come in there and been like, you know, an angry black man or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But part of it was that none of the sales assistants wanted to work for me because they weren't raised that way
Right.
to be
Right.
taking
They couldn't take
instruction
orders from
from
black.
someone like me. And I always thought that was so crazy.
Yeah.
But it's stuff that it's there. And I just feel like it's sad that it's like America still hasn't wanted to accept or deal with the fact that this is a racist country. They keep
Yeah.
saying it isn't, but racist shit keeps happening.
Yeah.
And, they just want to act like it's not there.
Yeah, it's like that Onion, joke article, that's heartbreaking. Every time there's a mass shooting, they run that article that says, like, nation can't understand why this keeps happening in the only nation in which it keeps happening, right? Like,
Right. There's nothing we
and
can do, right?
Yeah.
it's the same with racism. It's like, we can't understand why people say racist things in a country that was built on racism, that
Yeah.
has never acknowledged, has never, you can't say the word reparations in polite company anymore. And it's a thing that we have never addressed as a country, that 40 acres and a mule was promised and never delivered. And
You know something weird about that? Hang on. I see, who is this? Stephanie?
Stephanie Wilson is awesome.
DM me after and we'll work something
oh,
out.
Stephanie's amazing.
I was just
Absolutely.
gonna
Yeah.
weigh in and be like, she was just on our show and she's so great.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
We'll
thank you
watch.
for the request, and I'm trying to catch up with Lawrence and Dana and I need to get more active. you know. So,
You're doing great, man.
well, I try, but I'm juggling a lot of stuff. My wife and I don't know if you guys know about this. My wife and I have a little side business, and it's so we bought this business about a year ago, and it's it's a mobile plant bus that's been, well, it's a school bus that has been converted into basically a rolling greenhouse. And it's
Wow.
just full of plants. And we do these little pop up things. And I'm sitting here, Day of the Dead is rolling around. So,
Oh
we're
my
just,
gosh.
Oh my
I
God, I love
mean,
that.
our kids don't talk
I
to us
have a thing
anymore.
for
So,
skulls. So
well,
and
you know
plants.
what?
I have them sitting right I have some of
Nice.
those
I
in my
love that.
basement that are empty right now
I know
that
this
need
one is
plants.
empty. I have no idea what she plans on doing for that. But around here,
Oh my gosh.
there that's what's so crazy. There's a pretty significant Latino community around here. A lot of it's military, but they are serious about Day of the Dead. I mean, you go in a Mexican restaurant and it's kind of scary almost. I mean, people are all
Yeah.
made up and so anyway, um, I guess we got to talk about the East Wing.
Oh my God. Yeah. I y- so I can't believe they thought they were going to get away with it, right? That they put up
Right.
those boards on the fence and they thought somehow no one was
No one
going to
would know.
see or notice
That you're tearing down the
that the
White
most
House.
famous building in the country is being torn down in front of our eyes. Like I, I don't know about you. It literally made me sick to see it. Like I teared up. Like I literally almost cried because I can't
That
believe.
was tough, man. When I saw the full picture of what they're doing, I saw a I post a lot of video clips just like everybody else, and I ran across one, and I haven't posted it yet. I will, and it is Tressie McMillan Cotham, or Cottom, I guess is her last name. She's a let me get this right. She's a professor. I want to say at Chapel Hill here in North Carolina, but she's also a columnist for the New York Times. I mean, very smart woman. And she's doing a podcast with, um, I can't think of the name of it, but it's a North Carolina podcast that's very similar to the Tennessee Holler, if you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And she's talking about, this very thing that it's just so American that we just thought all this shit was handled. you know, she doesn't say it, quite in that way. I mean, she's a lot more, intelligent about it. But just that, all these things, these norms we thought were laws.
right,
And we thought,
They were
and
handshake.
what made me think about that, Lawrence, is you saying, or one of y'all said, how could they do that? People just assumed that nobody would try no shit like this.
right,
And
right. Because we said there was
nobody
like
would
a
just
commission.
raid the government like
Yeah,
they're doing. And so now you've got Trump saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, y'all owe me $250 million
The
for
fuck
just
is
some."
that?
I mean, I saw um, one of the guys on MSNBC, and he just said, "At this point, the guy might as well just go to Fort Knox and just take the gold. Just go get the gold and just take it. Because it's like there's no shame." And we all, I know I grew up thinking none of this could happen,
right.
right? I grew up thinking, well, we got the Constitution and we got the Supreme Court and all, silly me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like when they write the history of this time, and I hope that
Assuming, assuming they
assuming
do
that
get,
people are allowed to write history of this time, right? Like
Accurate history. There'll be
mm,
accurate
history.
history of this
It's
time.
just
Yeah,
whose point of view?
it's going to be so much about how essentially like this was all built, it was all a house of cards, like we thought this was the strongest democracy in the world, the strongest military in the world, et cetera, et cetera. America was always advancing. People were, we were making more and more people more and more free as time went on, and all of that was a fabrication. All of that was, basically, window dressing. Uh and and yeah, and Trump, if there's any silver lining, I suppose, and maybe this is absolute fantasy, he has showed us how fragile our democracy really is and
Yes.
how
that he
much work
has.
we have left to do. And I think there's nothing to be done but doing the work, right? And that involves getting rid of this administration, having a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, having Nuremberg trials for treason, which has been committed by multiple people multiple times now, and then building the actual rules and laws and foundations to make this country live up to the ideal that it was supposed to be doing anyway.
So
Yeah.
here's I'm sorry, go ahead, Dana.
Oh, thanks. I was when all the think back to February and March and the early atrocities that were happening, and I was like, Lawrence is my like political go-to knowledge person and has been for decades. For those on the live who don't know this, Lawrence and I have been friends since the 4th grade. So we go way, way, way back. And I was like, aren't there rules? How is this happening? And we realized like it was all kind of a gentleman's handshake. And I'm saying men on purpose because there were no women around back
Yeah.
then. Like there was things that we thought were law and kind of synchroset were actually like they were able to be blown over with like next to nothing because they were foundationally they weren't there. And and now here we are. I want to share one thing from the chat. I just looked at the link. Shane Urich from the Firebrand Project has posted a comment with the contact information for the architects who are tearing down, who are building this illegal
really?
courtroom, who are complicit
It's
in
so
its
funny. I
destruction.
thought of that. I was like, who is the guy
Right.
running that damn, you know,
Right?
I mean, I would not want to be the guy who like sunk a big old chunk, out of the East Wing. I would not want that to be me. And
Right.
it's
Right?
just
Can you
like what
imagine
we were
being the
talking yesterday
person?
about, like the racist stuff. How do you write that shit down? It's one thing to be saying it, but you're writing it down. I
Yep.
mean, I I write like posts every day that I get to the end of it and go, you know what, I'm not going to send that one. And they're not even, it's just, an opinion or whatever, but racist stuff, man. How do you write it down and just send it out there?
Because you feel safe. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
There
reason.
you
Like,
go.
I don't put like I sometimes on lives have to be like, should I say that out loud? No. Should I write this in a story? You have more time to think about it, right? But yeah, in text or an email, you're like, no, 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 a phone call. There's stuff that we shouldn't say
Yeah,
that could,
it's
or something we shouldn't document. They felt completely safe writing everything they wrote for good reason because they didn't think anything would really come of it. And yeah, their chapter got shut down, but they probably all have jobs at the Heritage Foundation or on Fox News already
I
for their
mean,
bravery, right? For
it's
their
so
not
funny to
taking.
me
Yeah.
how for years, again, I'm from Arkansas. It is probably difficult for people who don't know to believe, but when I lived in Arkansas, um, that state was solidly Democratic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, I tell people this, and it kind of blows them away. In the late '60s, um, Winthrop Paul Rockefeller, son of the big guy John D. Rockefeller, one of the sons, brother. I think there were three or four brothers. Nelson Rockefeller,
Right.
was, I guess, governor of New York, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy won in the late '60s. He became governor, and he got 80% of the black vote, a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we were coming off of the civil or the central high, crisis and the National Guard coming in, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that's a decade later. And over the next several years, it went Democratic because Democrats ran out Southern strategy, if you know
Yep.
your history.
Yep.
Okay. So when I was still there, Mike Huckabee just totally accidentally became governor. And I mean, no, really, it was
So that happened.
I had just started my investment firm, and I met with Mike Huckabee. He was just a sort of country fat preacher, and he had gotten elected lieutenant governor, which was kind of nothing, right? And he was not the guy that we're talking about now, that you know now, that's just a real jerk and all of that, because he didn't have money. And, I've written some stuff about him, but all that to say, back then I would tell people about the Republican Party and the racism rather. And they, oh, you're just playing the race card. And it's sort of like now I'm just sitting back going, you know what I tell you, you know. So that's, I guess, why I'm just not surprised. It's disappointing, just on a level. Who wants your country to be like this? But
Right. Right. It's none of us want to. I think we'd all like to believe that in the better angels that Abraham Lincoln talked about, right? And and what Trump is showing us is that those better angels are not here, or they're hiding, and what we're experiencing is overt greed and racism and homophobia and misogyny, and it's all being enabled. Julie Roginski wrote a really good article this morning about how Trump's relationship with his base is a groomer relationship. He basically
boy,
treats them like he is grooming them, and it's true.
Ew, but that's so accurate.
I
Ew.
have called it an abused spouse relationship,
Yeah.
but kind of similar, but a little different. Um, it's you just have to wonder, because there are so many people that one of these little things my wife does is I just don't do it because, but people that we know, like, we'll get we're on Facebook or Instagram, and she just goes to look and see what their comments are to see, is this really, like, is this person okay? And to me, what is so interesting is just the cognitive dissonance, where they're saying, I just don't understand why people don't see how much he's done for us. And then you ask them, well, okay, tell me what's he done? And either you just don't get a response, or they start calling you names.
Mhm.
You must be a libtard, or you must, or get something, because they can't. It's what has he done? I would love to know. If there's some mysterious shit he's doing for me and I just don't know about it,
Well, he
I'd
brought
like to know.
peace. He negotiated peace
Oh
with
yeah,
Hamas
Yanni.
and
Well,
Israel
Right.
for what, 6
oh yeah,
days?
no, you know what, Dana? He
Yeah.
has stopped 8 wars,
8
and don't you
wars.
forget it.
8.
Oh
Right.
my God.
He can't
I
name all
mean,
8 of them,
I
but
didn't
he's
even know
done.
there were that many wars going on.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Same.
he cut taxes. He cut taxes for billionaires, but he cut taxes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Stephanie in the chat also, after commenting on Julie Roginski's story, which I put the link in the chat, I'm going to read that one later today. But Stephanie G. Wilson also said the one by Dr. Stacy Patton on the kink power factor of poop with the AI video.
Mm-hmm.
And I just
Yeah. I
put
haven't
that link
read
in
that. I
here
did
because
see it though.
I restacked that one, and we talked about this with Egberto this morning. I want to read a comment. So I restacked. I love Dr. Stacy Patton's work.
Yeah.
She's one of my regular stops, and I feel like the world hasn't paused long enough on that AI video and how atrocious it really was.
I couldn't believe,
I
just coming from
couldn't.
a president.
Right.
That's
The
what I
official
mean.
account of the president.
I mean,
Yeah,
and it
it's
was like,
official. He didn't make it. Someone on his team made that. Like someone who was, because he can't use AI at that level. Come on. And
I
they were
know.
like, this will be really funny to own the libs. And the official word of the president is, we're shitting on all of you as
Yeah.
a king, right? So she wrote a story about this really interesting like the kink power and what it was saying,
Mm-hmm.
what the metaphor was of saying it. And I shared it. And this gentleman, Philip, commented on several times on things that I wrote with some pretty yucky stuff. But this comment, I want to hear your thoughts on it, is, yeah, Biden and his corrupt Ukraine connection, whiter than Trump, too. Whiter than, that Biden is whiter than Trump, too, was his retort to me and to Dr. Stacy Patton by proxy. black woman professor. The argument he's making is, well, Biden was whiter. Is your brain
I
not
think that
exploding?
kind of goes to the thing, and I may be misreading it, where one of the only retorts that people have, especially for black Democrats, is you can stay on the plantation
I'm
if you
going to
want
pause
to.
for one moment.
Sure,
Yeah, I'm pausing to say goodbye. Hold on one moment.
not a problem. So, but you know what I mean, I think that's a kind of weird thing to say.
It,
That
it
Biden's whiter. I mean, they're both white. I don't,
I I mean, Trump is German. Like, do you get whiter than that? You know, I
I don't know, man. But yeah, I have stopped trying to make sense of what these folks are saying because it's so funny.
Oh,
I
my
was,
person?
I was on Twitter until Elon Musk, screwed it up. Yeah. And this platform has been my replacement. Um, but I never got called the N word online until the day after the last election on this platform.
On this
And
platform.
yes,
Yes.
I'd never, I mean, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but no, this was somebody that came directly at me and said that I was uppity and, fill in the blank.
right.
And I mean, even in Arkansas, forget online, even living in Arkansas in a biracial marriage, nobody ever fucked with me like that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Right. So
But
emboldened.
I can't, Dana, I don't know what your take is on that. I can't figure that one out. The only thing I can figure out is it goes back to this whole thing. I guess it's a trope that, Democrats, we're just like, sort of, I don't know, on the plantation is what I see all the time. And nobody again has ever really been able to articulate that either. It's like, yeah, but the other side is they're calling me watermelon people. So where do you
Right.
think we're gonna be? I mean,
Yeah.
Right. How are you negating the harm done by the official presidential account literally shitting all over American people? Just like the visuals of that in a crown as a king. Like, imagine if
I
that
know,
happened
man. The
the day.
metaphor is so deep. It's
It's
like,
just,
I mean,
it's just
forget let them eat cake, y'all.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
right.
mean,
It's
it's
hard to
Shitting
like
all
decode
over
that metaphor.
way
It's really deep
protesters,
under
right?
the surface.
Like,
now.
it's so clearly just like he's so spitting mad that
mm,
because crowd size to him is end all be
oh
all.
yeah,
And it was by miles the biggest protest that's ever happened. They couldn't use the violence claim because it was utterly peaceable. Over they were saying 7 million is the conservative estimate, right? It's sounding more like between 8 and 11 million
yeah.
people congregated from small towns to the biggest city. New York City is the location of this video. And he, in real time, like posted this before the day was out, like Top Gun style as a king, defecating all over us. The official account. And the response is, oh, but Biden, Ukraine relationship, whiter.
Right.
Like
I
Like,
don't even
maybe
know what
it's a
that
true.
means.
yeah.
I
I
don't either.
honestly,
But that's
and
the thing is, like we're talking with Egberto about how you have to change minds to change hearts.
mm,
I'd like to believe that's true, but I think that this is all just it's even deeper. It's a gut reaction of just like, yeah, but Biden, and it's okay no matter what follows it. So to people who are like logical thinking, rational people who want to have discourse, you're just shut down. You're like,
you're talking to the wrong folks if that's what you, I
uh,
mean, I've tried it and I have I have mentioned this before. There was a guy a couple of years ago that I met that doesn't live here permanently, but they have a place here, and so in the off season, we'd get breakfast and we'd talk about this stuff, and he sort of initiated the relationship because they see this black guy walking around where there's not that many black people, and they on the odds, I'm probably not a Republican, right? And so when he found out that I was a writer and not just on Substack, but some of the other stuff I used to do in my former life, and the whole idea that I had worked on Wall Street just like discombobulated this guy
Right.
to the point that we're in a bar one day and our wives are, and he said something. We were going back and forth. I said something about New York, and he said, "Oh yeah, I Googled you." Like he had. We all Google people, but we don't tell people we Google.
Right.
Right?
And his
Oh my
wife
God.
looked at him like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What?" Yeah, he checked me out. He didn't believe my story. But one day we were having breakfast, and this is like the little subtle racism, okay?
Right.
And we're in this restaurant. It's early. I'm the only black person there, which is kind of always the case. And I said to him, because we were having this kind of conversation about race, and I said to him, I don't think you'd be comfortable if everywhere you went, you were the only white person.
Hmm.
Right.
But white people just assume that black people or non-white people will just assimilate into some sort of level of comfort being, like in the like a distinct minority like that. His response to me was, "Well, yeah, but you forget I used to own a liquor store."
Oh my God. What?
Yeah, he owned
What?
a liquor store in the hood. So, I
Oh,
didn't know that, but yeah, he owned a liquor store in the hood, and so in his mind, he was plugged into like the black experience.
Uh-huh.
oh
I
my
swear to God, I looked
God.
at him, I almost choked
What?
on my bacon. I'm like, and I didn't even say anything. I said, "This guy, okay, yeah, you forget I used to work in a liquor store. I used to own a liquor store, dude." So
I don't.
that's what we have, and this is not a dumb guy. He was a very nice guy, and ultimately, I mean, it went from he made a mistake voting for Trump the first time, and he's trying to like hear the other side. Ultimately, one day out of the blue, he says, "Yeah, I'm voting for him again." And I said, "Okay, you know what? We're done." And he couldn't accept
Right.
that I just ghosted him. I just emails going unanswered. We're not text buddies anymore. We're not having breakfast. You're
Yep.
out. Because
Yep.
Right.
you, by that
You were his
point,
black friend,
my
Marlon.
family, the effect all of that stuff has, and you're
Yeah.
going to do it again anyway. So that's the thing. It's like, I guess Rachel says it, you don't watch what they say, you watch what they do.
Right. Yeah. I've got family that, I love them. I care about them, but they voted for Trump the first time and they voted for him again. And, and this is the Jewish side of my family. And I just,
Whew,
I'm
okay.
like,
Yeah. My
I
dad,
don't,
same.
Wow.
Very big
like,
Trump supporting Jew. Well,
you,
till he got dementia.
you know what he's going to do. Like he's told you what he's going to do. And, as a gay dude, like, the impact that's going to have on me. How can you support this? And then, oh well, Kamala just really didn't have the experience. And I'm like,
I know it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. And we've got folks in the family that voted for this guy, and you just don't know what to say. I mean, it's like, to me, and I think, like you were saying earlier, Lawrence, when and if this ever gets written about, like in retrospect, there are just so many things that if it was anybody else, it would just be the end. Okay, you just lost. You got to pay a lady almost $100 million for sexual assault. We're done.
done.
Right.
You got You're like you're a felon. You're right. We're done.
Done.
I don't know. You stole money from a charity.
Right.
Right. I
You
mean, what is
incited an
it's
insurrection
like
at the
thing
U.S.
after
It,
Capitol
thing,
building.
right?
it seems like it's like it previously seemed like there were protections in place of like, well, he's a felon, he can't run again, right? And it's like, no, there's actually no protections. It was an assumption that
Right, that we
Americans would
just
be
would not
smart
elect
enough.
felons.
Right. Right.
Nope.
And
So now
what's
that
so
needs to
funny
actually
about
be
it though, Dana,
codified.
is but if you're a voter and you're a felon, you don't get to vote.
I
Right.
know.
Right.
You
But you
shouldn't
can
get to
be
travel to other
president. So
countries.
in Florida, he honestly probably was, I don't know, I'm sure they waived it or something, but
They
he's
did.
probably
Shouldn't have been voted.
ineligible to vote in Florida,
Yeah, DeSantis
but he could
specifically
become
gave him an
president.
exception.
Yeah. Can What's
Just
interesting to
let that
me
one
in
sit.
this conversation, I mean, Lawrence was talking about how he can pass because people don't know that they neither know he's gay nor Jewish. I pass as a woman, like it's kind of no denying when I leave my home. Jewish people can clock me as Jewish. I don't know that others know that necessarily, but I'm a white woman. We voted, in aggregate for Trump. Um, Gen X in aggregate voted more for Trump. And not on the whole, but a lot of minorities this go around. The second go around, a lot of Latino voters and a lot of Black men voters voted for Trump. Can we all talk about why we think that happened? Like, I feel like I
I
understand
can
white
tell
women
you,
enough to know why it works.
I can't remember. I mean, I think there's always been a segment of around the high teens,
Mm-hmm.
20% ish of Black men that have voted Republican anyway.
Mhm.
I think Trump, and I'd have to go back and look, I think he got maybe a little bit more than he did the first time. And I honestly think a lot of that was that people thought he was going to hand out stimulus checks. I saw so I saw so many Black dudes online talking about stimulus checks. You know,
Really?
and yes, and
What, they thought they were getting money,
I
like
think they
personally?
they thought he was going to do stimulus checks again.
Right, because he
And
did
I
it
don't
last
know
time during
where
the
in the world they
pandemic.
got that from,
Yeah.
but
Because of the pandemic, because he sent them out and he
well, I
insisted
know,
that his
but
signature was
I don't
on
know
it.
why they thought that was gonna. Now he put his name on those checks, and we
Yep.
thought it was crazy. But this guy, whatever you think about him, he can market the shit out of some stuff.
Yep.
And he put his name on those checks, and people associated him with the money. And these guys were like thinking, "Hey, there's going to be another stimulus round."
Yeah.
And
Pennywise, dollar
all
four.
Kamala's doing is trying to give me 50 grand to start a business, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no
How much
explaining some of this stuff.
hard question, but how much of it specifically with Black male voters, and I know you can't speak on behalf of all of them, but like how much of it was just sexism? How many just could not
Oh,
deal
there's
with
no question.
a
There's
woman
no question.
president?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, of course there is. Yeah. I mean, and with Latino men, even, you know what? And I guess to some extent there are women, white and otherwise, that just don't think a woman should be doing that job,
No,
Right.
of course that's part
you
of the
know?
whole
So,
conservative
but
white
with
woman
Black
thing.
men, there's, yeah.
And particularly a brown woman. I mean, what's something, this is like a small side note, but remember Charlie Kirk and how he was everywhere for like a hot second when he got murdered and now no one talks about him anymore? Um, Even his supporters had no trouble at all that Erica Kirk immediately stepped up into a position of leadership. I find that fascinating
I think
because,
that has got a lot to do with Christian nationalism
Yeah.
and how I'm not an expert on this, but just
oh,
how women are viewed. You know, it's almost like in Game of Thrones, now she's the one having the babies and, all that stuff. And it's just, I saw someone break this down. I'll try to find it, but I
okay.
thought it was really interesting how the role of women in that kind of situation in Christian nationalism. And it was deeper
Specifically
than,
in widowhood?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah. I
okay. Maybe
mean,
I'm not aware of
just
that.
kind of what she represents, you
Right.
know. And so
Right.
I'll post it. Y'all follow me, and it's on my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But
There is
I've
a lot.
watched it a couple of times, and it's almost like it's really some weird dogma.
Yeah.
You
And
Right.
know?
and there is a long tradition in politics of widows stepping into their husband's
Sure.
life. Like I'm thinking of, when Mel Carnahan was killed in the plane crash in Missouri, Jean
Yeah.
Carnahan, his wife, was elected to
Didn't Claire McCaskill step into her husband's shoes, I think?
no, I
Maybe?
think I don't
No?
remember. I don't remember that. I thought McCaskill got elected on her own right. But
Well, I think she did subsequently, but I believe her husband died, and I could be thinking about somebody else.
yeah, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
but there is that, right? And then
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I
So maybe it was the widow factor, but it's interesting to me that here's a whole ethos, a whole way of thinking that Charlie Kirk very proudly espoused, like women should be at home. I mean, when Taylor Swift got engaged, he was like,
I
good, you
know.
can subjugate yourself to your husband now. But when he was murdered, she went into his position of leadership within days and was out there speaking within days and
Mhm.
like not a lot of didn't seem very mournful just as an objective observer, but like no one questioned that this woman with small babies at home, little children, who is part of an organization that is preaching that women don't lead, women should be in the home, that it was completely fine for her to move into leadership because she's blonde and beautiful and white, maybe, I don't know.
I
But
I
Kamala
think
couldn't be
too, though,
president.
Dana,
Yeah,
you also have to keep in mind the money factor because that place is a money machine. That
sure,
Turning
sure.
Point USA. I looked a month or so back, and I think like in 2015, maybe they were doing, not a lot, maybe 1 million in revenue, or something like that. Because it's a 501(c)(3), so they report it. And like last year, 88 million. So that machine has got to keep on running. And,
Mhm.
and if we got to put the wife in there to just, as a stand-in, so be it. So there's
Hey,
probably a
the
lot
lack
of
of
different things going on.
Yeah, the lack of, like, the same white women who would never have voted for Kamala because they were not comfortable with a woman in that kind of position of leadership aren't saying they're just like, "Look how strong Erica Kirk is." I'm like, "Why is it strong when Erica does it, but you wouldn't vote for Kamala to do it?" Is it
Mm,
a skin color thing? Is it just a plain old hypocrisy thing? Maybe it's the martyred widow thing. I don't
all of
know.
the above, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, it's confusing. I don't know if you all can see it, but my light is slightly strobing. Am I
No,
flashing?
No,
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 we can't
no.
Okay,
tell.
good. It's just
So
me then being like, "Why are
I
you?"
see somebody in the chat is saying that their sister is always asking about stimulus checks.
yeah,
And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people that associate this guy with free money. It's
right.
So weird.
Well,
The
and
only
the
one
point that Nikki made in the chat is that is she said stop believing the hype of Russian bots, and I really think a thing that we haven't talked about yet is this idea that the way that Russians have penetrated our social media and our cultural conversation with bots is huge and is really, really influencing the kinds of conversations that we're having. So
Yeah,
it's a great point that,
Oh, no,
you know,
yeah. And what's
that's
really
true.
crazy about it is I feel like they like that. They like the disinfo, you know,
right,
because it helps them and it keeps everybody off balance. You don't know what the hell to believe. And I mean, they're not doing anything about it. They've gotten rid of all the people who would know how to handle this stuff.
right,
I'm responding in the chat here about Turning Point USA. I should just say it out loud that it's so insidious. I will like lose my shit if I ever see Charlie Kirk's face or anything Turning Point at my
Mm,
daughter's schools. But I live in Seattle. I won't see it. I won't see it here.
well,
So
I will tell you within 24 hours of him being shot, there was a billboard in the next little town over by the high school that everybody around here goes to. RIP Charlie Kirk or something. Just and I don't know who put it up. Probably one of the churches. But yeah, and you talk about cognitive dissonance, and man, listening to that guy, and I really had not taken him seriously until the last year or so. but he was a dangerous guy because and it was so interesting to me after, just in watching some of the clips and stuff, he picked his audiences, that whole idea. First of all, he's a voter registration machine.
Right.
He's hitting these college campuses, but he's talking to people who were not equipped for that just barrage of lies that he would come up, and he would say just enough that it sounded like something that might be true. But he could never do that with me. But he would
No.
never have a debate with me
Right.
or
Right.
you, right?
Right.
Just, but some 19-year-old that's not. Now, every once in a while, he'd run into a young person that was ready for him, especially when he went over to the UK.
Yeah.
Boy, that was really, I guess Oxford, maybe.
Oh, I don't
Woo,
remember which college, but yeah, he did
woo,
get cremated over
just
there. Oh,
crushed. He was
too
not
soon.
ready. But anyway, enough about Charlie.
Enough about
Right.
him. I will just say the fact that he successfully conflated the manipulation he was doing with discourse. He is
Hmm.
remembered as a champion of
Right.
discourse and
Of the
conversation.
First
That's a
Amendment.
crime.
Right.
That is
Yeah,
that is a crime. And the fact that it's so insidious because it's getting to young people who, I don't know, for a few years there, it just felt like we just have to wait for the boomers to die out. And then like blue votes are going to skyrocket because young people are liberal, right? That was the assumption.
that was the idea.
They went right in and I was about to say for the jugular. God, I got to watch what I'm saying. But they went right in. And to me, the biggest, like, talk about words having meaning and like reality having meaning. When I saw the shooting, it was all like my daughter shared it with me. I
Hmm.
actually saw the video and because I was like, are you sure it's real? She sent it to me and I'm like, oh God, yeah, that was real. There's no way he survived that. Um, how is the conversation from this not going to be the irony that someone who championed guns and overtly said, we have to sacrifice people to guns every year to keep the Second Amendment is inviolate. We have to have sacrifices so that we can protect our other rights. He was in the middle of saying something very racist about that very belief when he got gunned down and murdered. How did it not result in a Charlie Kirk gun safety bill to
Right.
try to pull back on the just unmitigated way we can access guns all the time in this country? That conversation got like never, ever, ever happened. Instead, it just somehow became the liberals' fault again. Like, what a fucking travesty that is. How brilliant would it have been to come forward and be like my words initially were about it were, I wish Charlie Kirk had benefited from the same, like, gun control laws that I wish every American had. I didn't want him shot. Hated
No,
his guts. Didn't want him shot.
Right.
I shouldn't say hated his guts. I don't know him. I just hated what he stood for. But how did that conversation get squelched before it even started? That's the crime to me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because he should be alive. And we
yeah. You
never
don't want
going
to
to
win
find
that
out
way. I mean,
that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. You don't want to win through. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, right? Because I remember talking about this the night that it happened and
yeah,
saying, on a live out loud to, Frederick Pogue and Nick Perro, like, we should call it the Charlie Kirk,
yeah.
assault weapons ban or, gun control bill. And how Democrats missed the opportunity, and how the conversation, with all the ironies that you just stated, Dana, like how we let that, get taken out of our mouths and weaponized against us. It
And
just goes
against
to show,
trans people, like it made no sense.
right? Yeah, suddenly it became about, the kid possibly had a trans roommate. Like,
oh, I know. I know. What I find interesting is how little I have heard about him in the last several weeks.
right?
Because it wasn't true.
It's
Well,
just,
and
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, where is this guy when you're not hearing a thing
I
about?
mean, here's my theory, right? Do you remember the big massacre that happened at the Mormon church?
Yeah,
About a month ago. At this point, we're hearing nothing about that either, right? Because I think when they actually look into these guys' motivation, they discover that they're right wing gun freaks who
Of course they are.
are doing it out of a horrible either anti religious or whatever the Charlie Kirk guy was, but we don't hear about it anymore because the story isn't good for them. The story isn't good for the right wing.
Yep. Yep. Guys, I'm just looking at the clock and my how time flies.
Right?
Wow.
Marlon, we could talk to you forever, man. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for having
you know
us on.
what? I can talk forever. So
Yeah, well, you got
you're
two
just-
people here who could also talk forever. So
yeah, that's when
one
I
of these
started.
days we're going to get together in person and we're going to do it over a meal.
Let's
And,
make now you're talking. Now you're
Yeah.
talking. You know, I was
That would
just
be a dream.
thinking we make such a good team because, you know, I'm on the East Coast, you're in the middle of the country, Lawrence, and Dana, you got the Pacific Northwest lockdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should talk about this. There's something here, you know.
For sure. For sure.
First,
Hey,
magic
man, if you're
happening.
proposing we do a regular show, I'm
Hey,
down.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could work. It could
I'm
happen.
all in. I'm all in.
So how do people find you? How do people subscribe? Tell folks what they need to know.
Yeah, we're at genxe.io, which is our Substack page. That's our Substack homepage. And genxe is genxy.io. And I just put it in the chat, although that's probably not linked. Yeah, so we kind of operate on the NPR model where like all our content is free. We love it if people subscribe and do a paid subscription to help support our work. But yeah, we're here 6 days a week. We do our show, the Daily Whatever Show, every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Like I said, you two are the hardest working duo on Substack, man.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
I assume there's a subscribe button by each one of you. So folks, if you're not subscribers, take care of that. Also, if you're not subscribing to the Journeyman, shame on you.
Do it. Yeah. Shame on you
And,
for
please
real.
subscribe.
I have sort of done this. I guess I call it a challenge because I can't think of a better word. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. I think
I love
I
that.
don't know, halfway to almost to 15,000. So I got a ways to go. So, if you're not a subscriber, make sure you do that. And
I'm a subscriber.
I know, Dana, Lawrence, thanks so much. I appreciate
Thank you
guys
so much.
joining.
This has
Thank you,
been
Marlon.
so much fun. And
Absolutely.
you're going to be back on our show next on Halloween next Friday.
Oh, that's right.
For Fucked Up Friday.
I know. I was like Fucked Up Friday on Halloween. That's got my name written all over it.
It's going to be so good.
It's gonna be
Fucked Up
It's gonna be
Friday.
fun. Maybe
Is
I'll
it-
even
Yeah, that's
I'll
our
even
daily
have one of my
whatever
little
show.
Day of the Dead guys with
Yes.
me or something.
Ooh,
Feel
yes.
free to come in costume, but we do host an event called Fucked Up Friday every Friday where we invite a guest on. We've had you on before to pick, and all three of us pick our most fucked up news story of the week, and we pitch it and say why we think it's the most fucked up, give it some context, and then our live audience votes for the winner.
It's
I
fun.
think it was a three-way tie when you were on, but I can't. Maybe you won, Marlon. I can't remember.
I think Marlon won, if I
Did
recall
I?
Yeah.
correctly.
I want to say it was close between the two of you, but Marlon won.
Well,
There's been so many atrocities since I don't even remember the stories.
I don't know.
need to go
I
look
think
back.
I'm a glutton for punishment about finding stuff on the internet. So
So are we. It's why we do it every week. Thank you so much. We had so
Thank
much
you,
fun.
sir.
Today.
all right. Well, we'll see you guys on the other side and
Yes.
have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you. We
Take care.
will.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, folks. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.